We all have those days. Days when it feels as though everything is going wrong and everyone is against us, from our worst adversary to our closest friend. It may not be completely true, but we can't help feel it nevertheless. Too many days of that, and a person can easily fall victim to crippling depression. The good news is, most people feel this way from time to time, but the feeling usually goes away. Would it surprise you to know that the writer of today's psalm felt that way also, and that he included God as being among those who had turned against him? Rightly or wrongly, it's how he felt. And his words provide us with the words we can use to express the same feelings in our conversations with God. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Friday, January 28th, 2022. Psalm 88 is one of the two morning psalms for today in the daily lectionary. It is one of the darkest psalms in the entire Psalter. Ironically, the other psalm for this morning is Psalm 148, one of the most upbeat psalms in the Psalter. But if all we ever talk about is the good stuff, the happy stuff in the Bible, we rob ourselves of an important element in the grand sweep of the Bible. Psalm 88 begins, "O Lord God of my salvation, when at night I cry out in your presence, let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear to my cry, for my soul is full of troubles, and my life draws near to Sheol." And the psalm only gets darker from there, if you can believe it. The psalmist actually lays at God's feet the underlying reason for his plight. He says, "You have put me in the depths of the pit, in the regions dark and deep. Your wrath lies heavy upon me, and you overwhelm me with your waves. You have caused my companions to shun me. You have made me a thing of horror to them." As with most of the Psalms, we don't know exactly what the psalmist is talking about here. Is it physical illness that plagues him, that makes him a pariah? Has he become a social pariah, a misfit, an outcast? We don't know. But like most prayers we lift to God, he seemed to assume that God knows exactly the problem or problems he faces. He doesn't have to spell it out. Not to God, anyway. Now, most psalms in which the psalmist cries out to God end with some acknowledgement of God's ultimate goodness and the psalmist's ultimate trust in God. A sort of, "In spite of it all, God, I still praise you because you are still worthy." Not here. Nearly unique among the Psalms, this one never returns to that place. The psalmist wallows in grief and suffering, laying it all out before God. Which raises an important question. If I blame my woes on God, why even turn to God at all? Why not just throw up my hands and declare that God is dead to me? That's what most people would do. But not so for a person of faith. No matter what the complaint, simply speaking to God is itself an acknowledgement that God is still worthy to be praised. The opposite of faith, you see, is not anger with God. The opposite of faith is indifference toward God. And it is abundantly clear that the psalmist is anything but indifferent toward God. This psalm, as dark as it is, still reminds us that we should never be afraid to speak our peace before God, that we should never withhold from God even our anger with God. And Psalm 88 provides the anguished soul with the vocabulary and the model for how to do it. Tomorrow, the morning psalm is anything but gloomy. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.